The train's revolting smell woke me up. There had to be 100 or more people on the train. How long have I been here? I tried to drain out the noise with music, but it was too noisy. I wanted to crawl into a corner and disappear. Why did I have to go to this mysterious house anyway? I knew Mom and Dad were getting divorced, but I did not think they would send me to Grandpa. I have not even met him before. I pulled out my book trying to see if the fairy tales would calm me down. With music's vibe, I fell back into a slumber. Suddenly, the train screeched to a halt. I slammed into the back of my seat. I stood trying to make sense of what happened. I looked out the window only to see trolls. Trolls were climbing up the train. They would kill you with a swing of their axe. I had to escape, or I would be doomed. They blasted into the train. One by one, they jumped in, snarling at each other, trying to steal anything they could. I pulled the door open and darted. Looking back, I saw blood dripping from the trolls' axes. I always read about the trolls, yet this was my first encounter. I ran harder and faster than I ever had before. I was out of breath, but my feet kept going. The image of the dripping blood in my mind, I sprinted till I dropped. It was pitch black, while I felt for soft grass. Laid down and rested. Whispers awoke me. Flabbergasted, the fairies surrounded me. They saw my eyes open, high-pitched screams came as they hid amongst the trees. "It's okay, I won't hurt you," I exclaimed. Two fairies came out of hiding. "What are doing under a tree?" they said, giggling. Annoyed, I responded, "Trolls attacked my train. I had to get away." The pink fairy spoke, "Come with us, we can protect you. We will get you clothes and nourishment." Warily, I agreed. I had to get food somehow. They led me to their palace. After hours of walking, a gate was in front of us. A fairy stepped up and stated words in a different language. The gates opened, yet I never saw anything as enchanting or beautiful in my life. Fairies flew everywhere. Glowing waterfalls were streaming out of mountains. Majestic creatures were everywhere. We walked on the glittery path until the castle came into view. I teared up. It was everything I ever dreamed of and more. 11 narrow, square towers surrounded the castle. They reached twice the height of the walls that were made of light pink stone. Perfect windows were scattered across the walls. Radiant flowers surrounded the entrance, while garden fairies were making the flowers more flawless. I stepped into the castle, more beautiful inside than out. It smelled like honeysuckles. The fairies led me to their head queen, Valeri. We entered a huge library. Books surrounded me. I entered and could not miss the queen. Her hair was luscious with the most gorgeous waves. Her face was smooth with a glow. "Welcome, come sit," Valeri insisted. "I know you must have many questions, but I wanted to welcome you to the Oakley Castle." "Thanks. I hope my fellow fairies were good to you. They are still in training." In the corner, the fairies started to giggle again. "Yes, they were very kind. I was wondering if you knew where my grandpa's house was. I was heading there when trolls attacked my train." "Oh my, I'm sorry, dear. Even if I did know your grandpa, you cannot dare leave at this time." Ozil declared war. He released Orgon, the deadliest dragon. "Wait, there is a dragon on the loose." "Sure is. You are not from this land, are you? You better stay here until the prophesied queen comes." "Queen," I said warily. She pulled out a book, dusty and old. "Long ago, a great wizard prophesied that a queen, with the truest heart, will defeat Orgon. She will ride into the night with her sword held high. When at last she will free the fairies from the wrath of the dragon forever." I chuckled. "You cannot believe that, can you?" "It's the only thing we can believe in," Valeri said, with eyes so intense I knew she was serious. "You better get some rest, it's been a long day. Evil, escort her to her room, please." Screams erupted from outside the castle. A burning light came from outside. Orgon was here. The roar of the dragon was deafening. I looked into his eyes, there was no soul. Stone cold, he killed hundreds of innocent fairies. He was headed for the castle. I had to save them. Shaking, I started to pack. I changed into an elegant red jumpsuit. I looked into the mirror. The window busted and let a breeze in. I stared at myself. My dress flowing from the breeze. I wondered if I was the queen. I jumped on the white horse and started to gallop into the night. I was thankful Dad got me horse lessons all those years ago. I made as much noise as possible to get the dragon's attention, but the fairy's screams were too loud. I grabbed a piece of wood and made a whistle. The whistle made a high-pitched sound. The dragon looked my way and soared toward me. I rode like my life depended on it. Orgon caught me. Fire surrounded me. I was trapped. The dragon turned into a man. He was a handsome man in his early 20s. He had perfect brown hair and eyes that sparkled with fire. "Do you dare to pursue me?" he said mockingly. He walked through the flames. I pulled out my sword ready to strike. Out of thin air, he reached for a sword. He smirked, "Bring it." My hands did the work, while my feet followed. Every second was clear. I was aware of my surroundings. I knew every move he was going to do, yet I had never held a sword in my life. I slit his shoulder. He winced, coming back stronger than before. He shoved my sword out of my hand. I was defenseless. "And I thought I might have a challenge, but you're a disappointment," he exclaimed. I wanted Mom and Dad to be okay. I wanted my life back to normal. Why was I such a disappointment? The power within me rose as I jumped up in the air. I punched him with an indescribable force. His sword dropped. Blood cascading from his face, he rose. Was that disappointing? Furious, he started to attack. I mounted my horse and leaped over the fire. The man changed back to his true form. He glided towards us, flames engulfed my surroundings. Sunset arose, the waterfalls sparkled from the sun. It was the most beautiful scenery I had seen. If I had any chance of survival, I had to get up that mountain. We found a path, but the dragon was approaching. We galloped up to the edge. I looked over the mountain. My dress blowing in the wind, my sword held high, ready to give my life. I felt alive, I was the queen. He landed, there was no way out. I tried to escape, but the flames were too high. Looking straight into my eyes, he released the blazing fire. At that moment, I looked into the sunset, wanting the scenery to be my last sight. I was startled awake, disappointed that it was just a dream.